this. It's messy and complicated. It is a miracle that most things are produced at all. And to us, it's beautiful. Even something as simple as a shirt requires ordering material, scheduling labor, sending an invoice, hoping that the job was profitable. This requires a ton of data and coordination. Now, Target can predict what a customer will buy before the customer even seems to know. But mom and pop shops rely on Post-it notes and Outlook calendars. This inefficiency leads to higher price, lost customers, and a tenuous business. We're here to change that. Delta B, the next evolution in planning software, makes business easier for mid-sized manufacturing, unlocking their efficiencies by ensuring that every employee knows the next actionable task to work on next, and automatically recording the relevant transactions so that reports are automatically created for accounting, HR, compliance, and everyone else. If you're familiar with this world, you'll know the previous solutions to this problem as ERP or MRP. It's a $78 billion market. Generally speaking, the competitors are divided into 3 tiers. First, the tier 1 guys serving giants in the industry like Boeing and Tesla. Tier 3 represents dozens of smaller providers that give basic functionality and serve niche markets. Tier 2, where Delta B competes, is for mid-sized companies with revenues between $10 to $100 million and a couple hundred employees. Now, because of our simple actionable list architecture, it doesn't require expensive consulting and implementation. So our competitive price will allow us to compete in and consolidate much of the tier 3 market as well with our competitive price. Much in the same way that QuickBooks became ubiquitous in this space because of their superb ease of use. The market just for manufacturers is huge, with about 250,000 mid-sized manufacturers in the US, representing an addressable market of about $4.5 billion. It'd be silly for us to guess which percent of the market we'll capture, but each percent is worth $40 million in valuable subscription revenue. Why do we think we can disrupt this market? One number, 25%. This number drives us. Well, personally, it frustrates the heck out of me. 25% of ERP implementations fail. This should be embarrassing. If you've been involved in an ERP implementation, you know it's just as much on the customer as it is on the software. But that's like a car manufacturer saying, well, 99% of accidents are the fault of the driver. But that doesn't stop innovation in that market, and it shouldn't in the planning market. The thing is, ERP companies are software companies that see the problem as software and planning problems. It's not. It's a change problem. Instead, they put the onus onto customers and charge them even more money to help them implement. What's worse, we're not talking a small price. This is a quote that I received from NetSuite. Delta B is undeveloped, so I'll need to pick from a bunch of bad options to run the manufacturing company that I lead. Nearly $300,000 before discounts every year. That's the price for a 25% chance that it'll work. Well, with an ROI like that, you'd have to be desperate for a solution. Manufacturers like us are. Why do so many fail? Well, first, it's an old software design, back from the days when you'd have to hire install on premises and hire an administrator. It's just not necessary for us anymore. Secondly, as we said, implementing planning software is about change. And the rigid old ERP companies force their processes. You do business their way, forcing customers to reinvent themselves, sometimes losing that special sauce that made them competitive. It's so bad that folks don't even let you try the software before purchasing. Would you spend $300,000 on a new car you haven't test driven? No, we're tired of hearing, just trust me, it'll be great. Our team has dealt with this bad software for decades and fixed many bad implementations. Let me introduce them. Me, I'm passionate about bringing manufacturing and making the business easier, because that's what I've lived in for the last decade and a half. I moved up through a 120-year-old manufacturing company, fixing its bad planning software implementations to become its CEO. I was recruited away to run Topline, where I saw the same problems. These problems repeated themselves time and time again at every manufacturing company I encountered. On the advisory side, we're deep with experience. Chris is the CFO of a manufacturing company and serves on the customer advisory board for Epicor, one of those other tier 2 companies. Josh is a serial entrepreneur who just sold his last bootstrap manufacturing company. He's also our first committed investor in Delta B. I can't emphasize this enough. Our team has implemented this architecture in other companies, leading to outsized ROI, unlocking production capacity. But we can take this further. In essence, the actionable list architecture tosses out ERP and runs on live prioritized lists. A workflow in an organization is created, documenting the steps that are needed. We load the requirements to start an action and the actions or records that need to be completed with every step is done, with no differentiation between the shop floor and the office. This allows business your way with the power of a tier 2 ERP. Now, our templates allow companies to start quickly and use whichever modules you'd like. It's low code, built for the shop floor, and designed for manufacturers with change in mind. All this allows us to pursue a new business model in the ERP space. Just $1 per user per day, targeting a high level of users rather than just a few key shopping personnel, which the existing solutions seem to require with their price. We target all the users in an organization through an intuitive interface for assigning work and tracking hours, which it deeply integrates us into the company's operations, increasing our subscriber user base. Even better, our structure allows us to entirely disrupt the ERP sales process. You see, everyone else, they fly in a sales team from across the country to do customized demos of their software. Remember, you can't try it before you buy. Delta B, we're free for the first month, allowing any enterprising individual to try it in their department. We can be adopted before the competitors have even booked their flights. For example, a department manager could sign up for a description and begin to run his department using only the functionality he needs. As user adoption grows inside the organization, new workflows can be created to support HR, sales, or in another department. You're already running Salesforce? Perfect. We can integrate with our web-based open API. We'll spread the word of Delta B through a direct sales channel in the Pacific Northwest at first, but attending manufacturing trade shows like AmCon in Chicago and partnering with business consultants as a separate channel to reach customers who don't yet know the magic that planning software can provide. There's more in-depth financials in the business plan in front of you, but from a high end, we bring that ever valuable subscription revenue. And because of cloud computing that directly correlates our costs with our revenue, we're targeting about 11% of computing and storage costs on Microsoft's Azure platform. It allows them to handle data security and backups as well. R&D development costs represent the bulk of our costs and are the most difficult to project at this stage. We plan on using the funds from this competition to complete wireframes so we can get a more firm estimate of these costs. But at this point, we estimate over 6,000 hours for phase 1 development, or about $800,000 in year 1. SG&A we seek to keep light. We'll bring on a lead developer, a UX designer, and bring on marketing at the end of year 1. In the detailed packet, you'll see that we track growth by adopted enterprises and target about 40 to 50 users per organization. We're growing to about 750 organizations by the end of year 5. We feel that this is very conservative based on the size of the market, the ability to scale organically inside of an organization, and the difficulty of the entrenched players to pivot their entire architecture in our direction. We're looking at 3 rounds of funding to allow investment of funds as the idea is proven in market. The initial phase is just the core stuff and allows us to run jobs through a shop. We have 3 customers committed to trying this beta. Year 2, the release of a full ERP and functionality, which after the core stuff just basically means the robust financial platform. From then on, we're on a quarterly release schedule, bringing new features to customers all the time. More importantly, we're keeping every customer on the same version at all times, which allows us to keep support costs relatively low. In total, we're looking for $2.8 million in funding, which tails off as subscription revenue begins to cover our operating costs as we scale. In the end, we're able to deliver a comprehensive planning solution to mid-sized businesses at an affordable cost while delivering a healthy return to our shareholders. Now is the time to act. Developments in cloud computing and machine learning have made it possible to build enterprise-level apps that are accessible anywhere. The entrenched players must retain their current software because it's adopted by a large user base, and any changes must be rolled out across those businesses, causing even more change. They don't make large innovations because every innovation just causes more problems for their existing user base. Our team is in this for the long haul, but as a liquidation event, it's logical to target being acquired by one of these entrenched players. I want to end with this number. Mid-sized businesses are the backbone of our economy, and they need this solution. They're the ones that treat employees like a person, not a number. And it's important for us to level the playing field. As we grow, Delta B will stay focused on delivering the best tools to help them compete and thrive. The world needs this, and Delta B is here to help.
Congratulations. Okay, judges. I will actually ask that you, if you have a question, please go ahead and just unmute yourself. I see, looks like Bill is ready to go.
Yeah, I had a question. Good presentation, thanks. Interesting idea. It's a very crowded space, and I understand how you're trying to differentiate, but I'm wondering how you do get above the noise in this space? And is this application require integration, or is the notion it's going to have a much more seamless, easy way to integrate with the other systems that it has to tie into? So 2 questions, I guess.
Yeah, the integration one's a really great question, because that's a big problem with the existing ERPs, right? They seek to be enterprise. Right. It's the same with us. So because we're built from the web platform rather than an on-premises installation, we can access other programs through our web API. So the idea is that any other program that's a web-based can talk with it. You can write little middleware scripts to combine the two. Our goal is for people to live entirely inside of our software. That's why we have the full robust module map. But again, if we want to integrate with something else, we can do that pretty easily. And the goal being to scale it up to avoid those big hundreds of thousands of dollars of integration costs. As far as differentiating ourselves, we're really seeking to do that through the actionable list side, that it's a task management side to help coordinate your activities and really get away from saying we're an ERP or all the complicated 3-letter adjectives. Really go after, we're trying to organize the task side for you. But again, that'll be the biggest difficulty is rising above that noise.
Thanks.
Next up, Liz had a question.
Thank
And
you.
then Susan, then Brianna.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Loved your presentation. One of the criteria for this competition is talking about triple bottom line and impact.
Yeah.
So do you mind also just addressing that within your scope?
Yeah, absolutely. What we look at this is that mid-sized business, the equity side of it, right? I've got manufacturing going on that other side of the wall, and I compete against these really big guys who just threaten to overwhelm you with the resources they have available at their scale. And that's fair. They've built up to that level, but from taking care of the companies that our local communities rely on, we really see this as the way to help them compete at that same level. Additionally, if you look at all of these inefficiencies, right? The top line, the company that I run, they remake 15% of their countertops because of issues in coordination. They have multiple databases they're comparing against. All of that is waste that goes to the landfill. So all of this inefficiency, on one side it's dollars, right? That's the ROI that companies go, but that's why we have to buy it. But those dollars are for product that goes to the landfill, wasted resources, all these other pieces. So we really believe that by helping companies be more efficient on this side, one, we're helping them continue to be these valuable members of the local community and really compete at a large level, but also eliminate these inefficiencies that are causing all these wastes. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Yes, thank you.
Susan, you're next, and then Brianna.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation, David. Thank you so much. It's quite interesting. I would like to delve a little bit more into the customization and how you have the opportunity of integrating with other programs. So thinking about you hit on a lot of different places where you want to have accomplishments for your software. Quite aggressive. So kind of wondering the order there, but what is, if you are web-based and you have the ability to write the software to integrate, which makes sense, how many of the programs currently that these companies are using are actually of that nature? I'm thinking of the HR with payroll, inventory. So the folks that order materials, how often are those current ones actually on the web? And so how often are you going to have to write customization depending on the markets and the areas you're in?
Yeah, really great question. So most of the newer apps today, besides these entrenched ones, they're on the web. And the framework today really is about this open API side. So QuickBooks, the online QuickBooks edition that they have, has an API that you can tap into. From the HR side, Workday is disrupting a whole bunch. They're very similar, Salesforce as well. So all these companies that offer those modules, they integrate with it. They're typically going to be done more coded though, right? They're not a low code connection where you just port them up. You're going to have a developer run those. That's why we try to keep everyone inside of our environment. But most of the other providers nowadays, for those other softwares that you're talking about, they have an open API available. Does that answer your question? I think I got it right.
It does. And what is the order of accomplishment you're going to take to working on the various attributes of your product? Yeah, your
the module
there. There's still quite a bit to do.
It's an enormous amount. And honestly, where I have the most development for us to do on this is really tying down the development costs of these. So the first, we want to have 6 modules. That's 7. We'll go with 6. We want to have 6 modules. So it's actionable list architecture, which is like our special sauce that eliminates the old MRP. And then it's timekeeping, CRM, job costing, all the basic stuff. So that if I'm a widget maker, I can make the widgets. But I'm not going to have like the back end payroll, the robust financing. It's just task management for the shop floor. And really that's targeted on our beta customers. That's the functionality. So we could try it, make sure it works. Then phase 2 is really financials. So it's AR, AP, the GL structure, EDIs if you're connecting with other things. And this is a huge piece. So that's all of year 2. And we have that pegged as another $800,000 in development costs. But we have some subscription revenue at that time to help cover a little bit less. So the funding's a little bit less there. And then capacity planning, which is a big deal in the bigger shops, right? It's one thing to move production through, but you do need to be able to know, are you missing your deadlines? And so that's an important piece. And then the last is sort of this quarterly life cycle. So we look at like employee life cycle, so ATS, what Workday presently offers, having quality management systems or the audit sides, customer portals, all that piece. So the goal is that job costing, the financial structure, which completes the robust ERP, and then constant modules. And because we're cloud instead of on-prem, we don't have to roll these out to customers and force them to adopt. It just goes, which in my life, running these ERPs, it's a nightmare. You plan out to do it, it breaks stuff, and that's difficult.
Yeah. Well, thank you, David. I want you to also think about your pricing from that standpoint of the modules that you're adding on. So I want you to kind of put that into your consideration of pricing. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay, Brianna is next, and this may be our last one.
All right, thank you, David. Can you please, you talked about your addressable market, but what I really want to understand is your target market. Who are those first customers that you're going after? Who are you selling to? How are you going to be bringing them on? And who are those key individuals that you need to speak to within those businesses in order to get adopted? Additionally, as you scale, how is that going to look for your team and how you are going to sell?
Yeah, great question. So first we have the 3 targeted betas. And so they fit our sweet spot of a manufacturer with that between 20 and 40 million. So a smaller range than our greater market off of it. And what we're really looking for there is the operations manager inside of there to talk with them directly at the beginning about here's what you could implement to help scale up your software. So Clearview West is an example here. They're a guy that's running a tier 3 software. They're already having mistakes going through. And so they know they need something like this. We talk with that operations manager, implement the software and try. At first, that would really be done by me and the UX developer. And then long-term, we've scaled on our SG&A, bringing in additional support staff as we grow to continue to offer that customer service as people onboard.
Thank you. That is all of the time we have for questions for Delta B. Congratulations, David. Great job.
Thank you guys very much.
Great. So judges, you have just a couple minutes to write down your scores. I'd like Melissa Reeves to share a little bit of her story. Melissa has been working tirelessly with almost every single one of our teams. So Melissa, please go ahead and share a little bit.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, first off, thank you to everybody. It's just been an amazing journey with you. And back in April, we really, we pulled the teams together and we held a workshop to talk about the power of storytelling within these presentations, because these presentations are complicated. They have to get a lot of information in. But if you'll notice, we've encouraged them to create this mind movie, because as a storyteller, you have a lot of power to create our path to the visuals that are going on in our heads. And so we really, really worked hard to create an opening story that would be something that we could relate to as humans. And that is what you saw in our first presenter. Because what I really love about working with founders for my company is that entrepreneurs are so brave in that they are figuring out something that's busted, like we just saw with David's presentation, or they want to add on to something that already exists, or they're going to create something that no one's ever thought of. And it's these moments that they had that realization is their aha. And that's their story, and that's their fruition. And that's why we try to encourage them to compose and craft and learn how to tell it so that people are leaning in, because they're not going to really remember every pie chart. But if we can tie a story to the data, then they can have something that's memorable. And so that's why we do what we do. with my clients, I actually work with the fabulous talent over at Fluency Speak, and we put them into virtual private rehearsal rooms. So once we've mined the story and crafted it, we put them in this room and they practice and they practice and they practice, because when you practice, you actually get more confident because you know your stories, you know your colleagues' stories. These are the ways that we can build up libraries of successes throughout our entire journey on these paths that we've chosen to do. So I just want to say thanks again and good luck to the rest of the speakers. You guys have worked so hard, and you know, if you know of anything, that storytelling in your business career matters. And thanks so much. And I'm Melissa with Story Fruition. Thank you. And thanks, Amelia and team.
Thank you, Melissa. We are so lucky to have you as our friend.
You can take the screen back? Good, perfect.
Yes. Thanks, Melissa, and thank you to Story Fruition. Okay, judges, I hope that you have tallied your results and are ready for our second team. Next up, we're going to have Solar Dot. Solar Dot, go ahead and share your screen. Michael, can you share? It looks like we're just seeing your PowerPoint. Yeah, put it in present. Perfect. Okay, we have Solar Dot.
It's a clear, bright morning, and the sun is shining through your office windows. As you work, you start to feel a sense of, as you work, you look out the window, breathe in fresh air, and see a natural world that is unencumbered by fossil fuel pollution. You feel a sense of connection to the environment, knowing that this natural world is being sustained. But right now, we are far from this harmonious ideal. Climate change is the largest existential threat facing humanity. But as a society, we still struggle to make the necessary transition from fossil fuel dependence to renewable energy. But we at SolarDot, we strive to change that. Right now, in dense urban environments, commercial buildings in particular struggle to install practical solar solutions. This is largely due to the inability of the lack of readily available space. And due to commercial buildings designs, they have just a small rooftop area that allows only a certain small amount of rooftop solar, traditional rooftop installations to be installed. So in order to integrate solar more practically into urban environments, we either have to completely redesign the building or redesign solar. And we at SolarDot, we've chosen to redesign solar. Solar is a constantly innovating and evolving technology, but the market is following suit. In 2018, it was valued at $52.5 billion, but by 2026, it's projected to more than quadruple, reaching an estimated value of $223.3 billion. How do we capitalize on this exponential growth while helping to change the world as well? How do we go from this to this? The answer is simple: the window. Windows make up 40% of a commercial building, and we at SolarDot aim to capitalize on this existing space and optimize this area. Commercial buildings currently do not produce enough solar, but we will allow commercial buildings to be a source of energy generation. We are targeting property owners and ownership groups that own these commercial buildings. Right now, they're not able to benefit largely from solar, but by implementing our product in the pre-development stage, they will be able to realize the benefits of solar. We've talked to multiple prospective customers, and there is a high demand for our product, where they have largely not been able to benefit from solar, but they would like to benefit in the same way that's been seen in residential homes. Let's look at the Columbia Tower, for instance. As you can see, the window area makes up 30 times more than the rooftop. And oftentimes the roof is already occupied by other things. And while there are large players in the solar market, We don't act upon the same existing space that they are, so we don't have to compete with these solar companies. So if our customer chooses to do so, they can have both of our products installed at the same time to produce even more clean energy generation. But if our customer had to choose, they would consistently choose SolarDot. We use a small particle to reinvent solar called the quantum dot. We will embed this quantum dot into our window glass that will essentially allow our windows to absorb incoming sunlight and turn that into electricity. But first and foremost, it has the functionality and durability that you would expect of that of a normal window, with the added benefit of serving a purpose of being a highly efficient solar cell. And our window, given its seamless integration into dense urban areas, will have immense, through its sheer volume, will have immense solar energy production, unlike that's ever been seen before. At SolarDot, we're committed to creating value for our customer. With a net gain per year of 25.72 kilowatt hours, or roughly $18.26 per square foot, our customer will break even in just year 7. And with a lifespan of our product of 20 years, that means that over a decade of free energy generation. And we've overcome hurdles that in the past have prevented our competitors from becoming largely commercialized. There's a 35% heat and energy loss that a building suffers due to their windows. We not only compensate for that, but we produce a net gain of energy that can be sold back to the grid. And as power prices only continue to rise and quantum dot prices decrease, our company will only gain more traction. SolarDot has both indirect and direct competitors, but our indirect competitors, they use a different technology where they either focus on climate control or they apply a film to windows that essentially prevents the longevity of their product and it doesn't have as long of a lifespan. Our direct competitors, well, they do use quantum dots, as quantum dots have been around for over a decade, such as in TVs and the agricultural sphere. They use it for agriculture, so it has a shorter lifespan and it's not as efficient. And also, they focus on improving traditional solar solutions, but have not applied it to transparent window solutions. We stand above all others, given the SolarDot advantage. We have the highest efficiency and best durability than that of any of our competitors, and our customers would consistently choose our product over our competitors. We plan to go to market to engage with our customers through a direct sales force distribution channel, where through tech showcases and trade shows, we will be able to engage with our customers, and we will first be limited to Seattle, so you'll be able to see our product in a building near you. Then, with the business-to-business production model, after we can secure our first contractual agreement, we then get to work. We will source the glass that the property developer was already going to use, embed that glass with our specialized machine, and then send back not only the glass, but the wiring and the wiring and the instructions necessary to create this renewable power system. And then from that point onward, we're done. Long term, we'd like to transition to a distributor model as well to engage with more customers. Not only are we creating unseen benefit and value for our customers, but we're also changing commercial solar as well. At the price of just $200 and a cost of $107, we turn a massive profit margin of over 46%. In year 3, we'd like to establish our first proof of concept building, but then by year 7, we're projecting to be selling to 16 different buildings for a total of 320,000 square feet with a revenue of $64 million and turn a massive profit margin of over $29 million. We'd like to get off the ground as soon as possible, so we've set some key milestones. In year 1, we'd like to apply for a provisional patent and non-dilutive funds, and then also develop a functional prototype. By year 2, we'd like to create strategic partnerships as we've already started to do with the Clean Tech Alliance. And then by year 3, we'd like to establish our proof of concept and show the real benefits of our product by signing our first contractual agreement, as we've already gained interest from both property owners and construction managers. So that's why we're asking for you to help us turn our vision into reality. We're asking for seed one funding of $300,000 in exchange for 16% equity. And then also for your vote of $10,000 to obtain a provisional patent and develop a working prototype. The proceeds from the $300,000 will go towards our operations and expenditures for the first 2 years. We're a group of passionate individuals that have a commitment and love for sustainability. And we've all done our part to get SolarDot to where it is today. We'd like to thank our advisors as well, where they provided feedback and support that has helped us develop our idea. Plus, we'd also like to thank our consultants, where they provided invaluable insight into what it really means to turn our business idea into a reality. So that's why we're asking for your vote, so we can take one step, so we can be one step closer to changing the world, one window at a time. And you're back in your office, looking out your window. You feel a sense of connection to the natural world, and you know that your window is helping to sustain this natural beauty and pristine environment and clear skies. And you can say with confidence, this beauty will be around for generations to come. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Okay, judges, please actually just use, if you have a question, just click the yes tick. I know Brianna has our first one.
All right, thank you. Good job, Jacob. So can you talk a little bit about the technology and how is the light going to enter the window and then be turned into power? So does it go in and then disperse to the edges?
Yeah, so I'm going to direct that question to Michael, but pretty much so, yes.
Okay.
I can answer that. The simple explanation for how the technology works is that the light enters the window and interacts with the quantum dot particles in the window. And the way the dots are engineered is that only a specific color of light will pass through the dots, and the dots will only absorb a specific color of light. And part of where we have a competitive advantage is we have a literal rainbow of quantum dots. Of some of the dots are meant to absorb green light, others are meant to absorb blue light, red light, etc. And then when the light is absorbed by the quantum dots, it is re-emitted at a longer wavelength of light, most notably infrared light, which you might know from the detectors that you see at the museum where you see yourself in an infrared camera. And that light is then picked up by a photodetecting strip that converts that light into electricity. But because we can capture a variety of colors of light, looking through our window would appear nearly identical to looking through a traditional office window.
So just quick follow-up on your competitive landscape and to Ubiquity and the technology that they currently license out of the University of Washington that actually goes into Windows. Can you talk a little bit more about Ubiquity, and then I will fully disclose that I am an investor in Ubiquity and understand the 35 patents and the licensed technology they currently have.
Our understanding of the current space that Ubiquity is in is largely focusing on specific wavelengths of light, targeting most notably in the agricultural space, and allowing to build a more efficient greenhouse to highlight specific wavelengths of light to promote plant growth. Whereas our technology acts to capture a broader range of wavelengths of light, allowing capture of more overall energy and a more efficient design.
I'm happy to talk with you offline. They are producing windows and they're using non-dilutive funding to do so. The agricultural space was just their go-to-market strategy to generate revenue quicker.
All right, feel free to email us at solar.info@gmail.com, and I would be happy to discuss this with you further. Thank you.
Thanks. Next up, we have Elizabeth and then Susan.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, well, one of my questions was just about the IP, but it looks like you answered that really well. So my next question is going to just be about, can you actually put a film on top of existing windows? So if you could just kind of clarify if you actually need to sort of take out the glass and then manufacture it, or is there a way that you can actually put a film on current existing glass now? And so, yeah, we can just answer that.
So as I mentioned, solar window, they apply a film to their glass, but it actually results in a shorter lifespan of their product. It's not as durable. Whereas our product, one of our competitive advantages is how long our product will last compared to just applying a film. But again, yeah, so we are not targeting switching out the windows when the buildings are already being used. We're targeting the pre-developmental stage of buildings to have them installed within the infrastructure at the beginning.
Awesome. And then do you see this as a replacement to solar panels? And just full disclosure, I am a solar panel homeowner. So could you imagine for homeowners as well that we could take out our existing windows and then put this in and then combine it maybe with our solar panels on our roof?
Oh, without a doubt. We're first focusing on the commercial building space, but yeah, eventually we have plans to move residentially.
And you do see integration with other systems for energy?
Exactly. Like some high rises right now are using traditional commercial solar on their roofs, but it can be used in tandem with our product. And that's the same for residences as well. As we continue to expand, we plan to switch to residential homes as well.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Susan, you have the next question.
Yeah, thank you. So your price per square foot is about $200.
Mhm.
And how does that compare to traditional windows that are currently going into offices?
So traditional windows are at roughly $48 per square foot. So it is more, and we
quite a bit higher.
They're a bit higher. Caleb, can you talk about that?
Your price is quite a bit higher.
Oh yes, our price is quite a bit higher. But again, because of we account for not only the energy and heat loss that a building sustains from the windows, we also produce excess energy that can be sold back to the grid, plus how much the building's saving from just power usage. That's what allows it to be paid off within 7 years.
Okay. So how do you deal with the situation then with multi-tenant buildings in which the landowner of that building always passes on to the tenants the cost of heat and other utilities, and they don't really care?
Yeah, exactly. So we're targeting commercial high rises, specifically office spaces, not residential like apartment complexes, because they just want to pass that cost off and they want to save as much money as possible. But what our customers can do is market that to their tenants and have those savings trickle down to their tenants and the monthly power costs.
No, when I say multi-tenant, I mean office space. That includes office spaces.
Oh, okay. Yes. So the cost of power that they pay for, that savings from the property owner, what they're saving can trickle down to their tenants. They can apply that to their tenants and incentivize and market that, and incentivize tenants to choose their building over other buildings. Although oftentimes buildings are identified with a tenant already identified within the building, but tenants would seek that out because they will be able to save money in the long term, because there's normally a 10-year hold or lease for commercial buildings.
Thank you.
Okay, we just have time for one last question, and I want to give it to Bonnie because I know you haven't had a chance to ask a question yet.
Hi, this is Bonnie. I was just wondering, so with the pandemic, the energy prices has pushed down to the new low. So how are you, what's your sales strategy, or how are you pivoting your presentation to customers to ask them to use your product instead? Because right now I'm not really seeing any cost saving because the energy prices are so low that a lot of the bigger energy users are having negative prices.
Yeah, I'm going to direct that question to Alejandro. Alejandro?
Yeah, I was muted. Thank you. So from what I'm understanding, your concern is that the immediate situation, given the coronavirus pandemic, is driving these energy prices lower. And so one of the strategies that we are considering is delaying our initial outreach. Now, we did mention that year 1 and year 2, we are looking mostly at prototype research and design. And because of this, we do want to develop our product further. We do expect prices to come back up, but additionally, we do think that the value added from having the window essentially pay for itself does still drive customer incentive to purchase it.
Thank you. That is all of the time that we have for questions for Solar Dot. Great job, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Judges, please go ahead, write down comments, write down your scores. Except for Liz, who I'd like to invite to talk a little bit about WeWork Labs. Elizabeth is a third generation SU alum. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. My grandmother was part of the first class of women to graduate out of Seattle U with a teaching degree. And then my father went to Seattle U, and I had to go to Seattle U. The rest of my sisters went to UW. And my father was like, "You're going to Seattle U, last chance." And I was like, okay. So I love Seattle U. I have an undergrad in biochemistry and humanities. So big fan of everything that you guys are doing. Thank you all. I love just the entrepreneurial spirit that's all throughout the campus, but especially here at the Innovation Entrepreneurship Center. So again, just want to give my love to the community. And all the hard work, all the students here that you've done, not just the 4 teams here today, but to take upon this on top of a pandemic, on top of all your coursework. I just really want to give my appreciation and my love for the tenacity that you all have. It's going to take, this tenacity and this grit to really get us out of the pandemic. And here, and just real quick, just what I'm about and what WeWork Labs is about is just helping entrepreneurs such as yourself grow and thrive by connecting you into resources and connections. So again, you guys are our heroes, the entrepreneurs. We believe that this is what the world needs, and so we're here as support and in service to entrepreneurs all over the world. But especially for me at Seattle U, also UW, because of course UW is also just fantastic in our community. But for all students here, we love you. So thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And huge thank you to WeWork Labs. I am so sad that we didn't get to have our semifinals at the beautiful new Capitol Hill location, but hopefully 2021 will be there. Yay, that's fingers crossed. Okay, judges, please go ahead and wrap up your scoring. We are gonna get continuing with our third team. Pail, why don't you go ahead and start your screen share?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I will start timing when you start talking.
All righty, well, let's get going. So it's 7 a.m. In a half an hour, Kelsey's 2 boys need to be at school. Breakfast still needs to be eaten, coffee needs to be brewed, backpacks ready, shoes tied, but the part she dreads the most is packing lunches. Mornings are chaotic for parents, and making lunch doesn't make it any easier. In fact, Kelsey's not alone in this. There's over 175,000 Kelseys experiencing the same thing every morning in just the Puget Sound region alone. My name's Christian Swank, and I'm so excited to tell you about how we're making cold lunch cool and helping parents get some time back in the morning. Now, I already told you about the chaotic mornings, but it doesn't end there. Between prepping, cleaning, planning, and shopping, parents lose more than just the morning to lunch. In fact, many lose 1.5 hours every week, coming up to nearly 80 hours a year. That's the equivalent of 2 weeks worth of vacation lost to lunch. And sure, that root cause of the issue of 1.5 hours each week might be to something adorable like Wes, Ali, and Rafiq here, our founder's sons, but that 1.5 hours might be better spending it with your kids rather than making lunch for your kids. That's where Pail comes in. We provide a subscription lunch service for kids. We provide a weekly set of 5 lunch inserts that pop into an exchangeable and reusable pail or lunchbox that we provide. Our lunch boxes are ready to go. They're ready to eat, meaning that there's no prep involved. Pop that pail into the container and it's ready to go for school. It's ready to go for summer camp. It's ready to go for daycare, wherever it's needed. We let parents set a health preference at the outset of their subscription so they can be sure that all the food sent is always within their boundaries. We let children actually choose what they want, empowering them to make food choices, and we encourage them to set up healthy habits. If something doesn't quite hit the palate quite right, they can go onto our app or onto the website and change it for the next week's subscription. We then deliver it to your door in weekly packs of 5, fresh on the doorstep for 24 hours, and we guarantee it fresh in the fridge for 7 days. Lastly, we add in fun extras, from educational dino facts to personalized notes from mom to how to make a bird feeder from this box instructions. We make lunch fun. Here's a prototype from from our stories, Kelsey, one of our co-founders. She's testing food hardiness and testing kids' choice in the meals too. We're finding things like celery have a better chance of really being liked for the first time, perhaps, when the kids have a chance to actually pick it out. And we know freshness is important, and that's why it's the first thing that we're solving. We've created smart packaging that keeps fruits and veggies fresh longer, and keeps wet from dry, and it's airtight. We also employ creative and fun ways that makes putting together ingredients fun at the lunch table, extending the life of many products. Now to start, this is at a scaled solution that is on the screen here. We'll have about 6 months until we get here, we believe. But to start, we want to be the experts in delivering fun, cool, and fresh lunch, not necessarily cooking it. For both cost and familiarity reasons for kids, we need to source most of our food. This helps us keep freshness, keep costs down, lets us explore more food options than we could possibly hope to cook. And our fully scaled Seattle Fulfillment Center would be able to handle roughly 10,000 subscribers in that 16,000 feet. And our team has a lot of experience in handling both high volume warehouses, high volume operations, as well as delivery logistics. That last part being partially why we want to own the last mile. We found it to be a lot more cost effective to own this fleet because it helps us own quality to the door, expand shipments without reducing margin, and is generally cheaper than a 3PL providing that cold storage shipment. We have 4 planned revenue channels, 2 for now and 2 for when we're at scale. Our core subscription lunchbox is the bread and peanut butter, so to speak, of our business. Merchandise and extras come along with it. That's things like yours to keep pails, as well as delivered grocery staples. We're starting off small, but we have ambitions to eventually grow to fully replace the occasional grocery trip. And later on, when we're at scale, we see the opportunity in both product advertising and anonymized data sales, because this is going to be a set of data that the traditional grocer has a really hard time finding insight into. Our pricing is rather inclusive. We have from our most affordable option called Pail Picks, where Pail picks the food but still conforms to your preferences. It opens up a huge access to a larger market and helps us increase our inventory terms by letting us choose the food but still conforming to your preferences. Then if we move all the way up to our highest priced item on this core subscription lunch, it's right around $50 a week. And that includes a fully customized lunch with premium snacks, all locally sourced options, fully organic, and with a number of extras added onto that as well. And that number only increases if we are able to add on additional follow-on sales, such as groceries, on top of the core subscription offering. Now, the weekly average on that core subscription offering is right around $40 per week per customer, and that's at the end of year 1, with an average cost of goods delivered right around $28. So breaking down that number by that $40 by cost component, here's what we get. 35% food inputs, 28% unit margin at the end of year 1, 17% packaging materials, 10% production labor, right around $3 to $4, which is in line with other shipments that companies that own their own delivery fleets for shipping, and then 2% going to charity. And that 2% goes towards something that's a mission of our company. Part of what really drives us to do big things, because it's going to be even better, but that's fighting food insecurity. And that fighting food insecurity, that means for every subscription delivered, we give a monetary donation to a nonprofit called No Kid Hungry, who has both national and regional partnerships, so you know who you're helping. And they're the experts in providing food for kids who don't know where their next meal comes from. Now we're starting in Seattle. Our addressable market, as you might have heard me say, is 175,000 Kelseys in the Puget Sound region. Those are families earning above the median income, have kids K through 8, and are already bringing cold lunch. We believe by the end of year 5, we can capture roughly 4% of that market. It's about a 2% month-over-month growth. But we don't want to stop in Seattle. Our broader ambitions are to expand and become a household name in delivered lunch and foods. And that's why we have a 15 city market expansion plan over 5 years that we believe will be able to enable us to capture roughly 136,000 subscribers by the end of that 5th year of operations. And the growth is well precedented too. Imperfect Produce has started roughly 4 years ago and has obtained roughly 200,000 subscribers of weekly deliveries of fresh produce. And HelloFresh has obtained roughly 3 million in about 8 years. Now our financials line up with our subscriber base growth and our market expansion costs. We've ran a lot of model scenarios that lead us to this. Our models include HQ and local labor costs by site, useful vehicle life costs and ancillary costs, production learning curves, quantity curves for production, and more. We're setting this up to try to be really useful as we actually start a business. By midway through that first year of real operations of 2021, we are expecting to make, on a unit basis, a profit. So that's right around 300 subscribers to break even there. On the business break even, that's right around year 3 of operations once our net income exceeds our expansionary costs. And then once at the end of year 4 of operations, we believe we can achieve roughly a 33% gross margin. Now, just quickly, at this point in time, we're the only ones that we've been able to find that are competing in the ready-to-eat, customized, delivered lunch space for kids. No, that's qualified. But the other current competitors out there that are working for meals for kids are making meals that are ready to heat or ready to make. And we think those are largely meant for home. We think we're solving a relatively different problem. We're not the first to necessarily try this, though. However, we are the first, we believe, to get the right formula. We don't incur the same costs and risks of making food, and we have a founding team that is kind of built around our service. We even are focusing on a broader market, not necessarily a niche as many subscription boxes do. Now, to acquire customers, we've projected a $51 customer acquisition cost in the Seattle market, which will help us attract customers through online ads and community sponsorships. Once we have their attention, we'll offer promotions such as complimentary pails or a free week of lunch to increase that subscriber sign up. Now, the nature of food subscription is churn. On average for food, that's about 3 months for these subscriptions. That's why we plan to spend a good portion, about 25% of our marketing efforts, retaining and nurturing our existing customer base. We'll retain customers through loyalty programs and increased personalization, and we'll continue to nurture them through exclusive inbox extras, games, and through our Pail exchange program. Now, our business depends on logistics, marketing, and product packaging, which is where we've built our founding team. I have 6 years mix of bringing R&D projects to market, global logistics management, and program management experience. Siri has 10 years of marketing experience launching products and marketing programs for startups, for Urban Spoon, for Amazon Marketing. For the past 5 years, Kelsey's been making packaging design and food management for companies like Apple and Target. We have an incredible team of advisors too, that range from a family medicine MD obsessed with nutrition to a James Beard award-winning chef. We even have our first hire, one of our key employees who's an operations expert from Tesla. Now, here's what we've done and where we're going. We've collected a consumer survey at this point, and we've received some really encouraging results. 75% said they were willing to purchase now with really limited information without even knowing much of the extras and benefits that we provide. And a majority said they were willing to buy it within our price range, beating our expectations. We've identified pilot partners for our first pilot program in the Seattle region, and we've launched a prototype website. Moving forward, we hope to launch that pilot, raise a seed to enable our expansion to the Seattle region, introduce new ages and product categories for additional revenue sources, and finally raise a Series A to fund a national launch. Which brings us to my ask of you. $10,000 of prize winnings at this point would mean the world to us. It helps us go so much further than it would at a later stage. With that and our founder's investment, it would enable us to accomplish some of these milestones, like actually hiring a software development engineer, finalizing our website, and launching that pilot. It would mean the world to us to earn your support here. With that, we think it's time Cold Lunch got cool, and I hope you do too. This is Kelsey, by the way, who has her boy Ollie there, who is experiencing Pail right now and loving it. Thank you.
Congratulations, Pail. Great job. Christian, note I did mute you right at the end, so you should have to unmute yourself for our judges' questions. Judges, as a reminder, please indicate you have a question by going to the participants tab and just click the yes. I know Scott has one right off the bat. Please take it away, Scott.
Okay, so Christian, my son's 19, so I'm not your target audience anymore, but thinking back to when he was young, the concept is great. I would have loved to have something like this. I have a concern with the logistics, and since you're the logistics guy, what I'm looking at numbers, when you talk about 8,000 families in the Seattle area, if they have 2 kids each and you're delivering 5 meals a week for those kids for the 5 school days, you're talking about 80,000 meals. And as I'm following you, basically you're gonna prepare 80,000 meals on Saturday, deliver 80,000 meals to 8,000 homes on Sunday, and then everybody has food for the week. And that seems to me to be an awfully daunting task from a logistics standpoint. How do you plan that?
Yeah, so we've broken it down to the minute. Right now, to be able to accomplish up to our capacity at 10,000 subscribers within the Seattle region, that's a 16,000 foot square foot space in probably the South Seattle region. That would enable us to get to that 10,000. That's going to be roughly 25 people in the warehouse actually doing the packaging and production of this. I think we have a pick, pack, and quality control time of right around 3 minutes per lunch. So 5 of those per delivery. And then those would be sent out. If I'm remembering my math right, it might be for the whole thing. But so that's the warehouse part of that. The actual delivery fleet itself, to accomplish 10,000 subscribers, you need about 35 fleets or 35 vans. The size of the vans isn't any issue. They're pretty small packages. But to be able to deliver those, you have 4 shifts, 8 hours a shift. You got to be about 50 different customers for each one, roughly, to get there. So that's on the numbers part. That's briefly kind of how it works. We actually have kind of 3 effective days of operations, 4 shifts worth of deliveries that happen on Saturday and Sunday. So you have that full week of freshness. And then the actual packaging part starts on Friday evening and goes through Sunday morning to that last shift where we transfer to the dispatch fleet.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Next up, we have Brianna and then Susan.
So building off of that was a great question, Scott. I love this idea. I have 3 children at home that we have to make lunches for school. So I get the problem that you're solving. It's real. But going through all the logistics that you just did, the capital that you have set out to raise in a couple of different tranches just doesn't seem to add up or be enough. Can you talk a little bit about how you're going to be keeping the expenses low, and then how that revenue you're going to be generating is going to be then going back into the business to really support that logistical effort, because it's a lot of moving parts?
Yeah, so I guess kind of 3 phases to start with. Initially, if we can get through the kind of initial part with our founders investment, and if we were able to win some cash here, then that would help us fund our pilot program, which caps off at about 65 subscribers. That's essentially 1 truckload, so we can get some of the math down, really understand the timings. We're going to be in a heavy learning phase for that first 3 months, maybe 4 months, depending on licensing times, as we're actually learning about that pilot program and getting some data back. From there, probably be a seed investment or an angel round where we try to raise somewhere between 500 to 750, we think. We expect that to be able to fund leasing a warehouse for another 6 months and kind of doing the build up in the initial product categories. And then from there, we probably do an actual Series A round where we'd look for 1.5 to 2, I believe, is what we've projected. It is a little bit tough because it seems like a lot up front, but the nice thing about these subscriptions is that the actual payment of it is instantaneous. Like, so we're incentivizing our pricing to say, hey, if you want to sign up for a year, you can pay for it now and we'll give you a heavy discount. But that gives us so much more flexibility on cash, which we know is going to be important, especially in these early days. So that's we're going to heavily try to influence that with our customers.
Thank you. Please sign me up for your pilot.
Sounds good.
Thanks. We have Susan up next and then Bonnie.
So I'm going to show my age also, as I don't have kids that are in grade school age, right, and haven't for quite some time. There was an alternative, though, that the kids could buy lunches at school. And they were generally hot lunches and balanced and so forth. Am I wrong in assuming that that's still generally available at schools? And what is the general cost of that? Because right now, with your number, at an average of $7 a meal, 5 days a week, I'm wondering how that compares to parents paying for a hot meal from the school.
Yeah, sure. I might toss that one over to, excuse me, over to Siri if you're off mute there, Siri.
Sorry?
Sorry, one of our co-founders, Siri, if you want to take that one.
Thank you. So I guess we're not directly competing with kids who are purchasing lunch or purchasing hot lunch at schools. It's kids who are already packing cold lunch. And so about, like, of all the grade school kids, about 60% currently take a cold lunch from home. And so that's more of our target market. And additionally, we're trying to focus more on kids who are going into school. So like pre-K, kindergarten through 2nd grade are really like our core. Because once kids get into middle school, I think maybe they're more set and there's more food choices. Once you get into middle school, there's like a grab and go and there's bagels and there's a cafeteria. But so our real focus, like at least what we're starting, is for K through 2nd grade kids.
Okay, but I think a lot of times, at least my knowledge, is the reason why a lot of kids packed and took lunches is because it was cheaper than for them to buy the lunches at the school. And to some extent, obviously, to manage health, and hearty and healthy meals, which I'm really delighted to see that you're focusing on that. So I'm really the question is that, what is that price difference between you and buying a meal from the school?
So I think like hot school lunch is around $3, $3.50, something like that. They would have nothing close to the variety that we would have. And as a parent, you wouldn't have any kind of say in what's going into their lunch. It would just be like what was being served that day, if there was one option, or they could just be, picking the one other thing. So for us, the product adheres to a parent set health goal, and then they get to select. So like for my 6-year-old, we selected different vegetables these past 3 weeks, and he's now eating a larger variety of vegetables. So
that's great. That's great. Thank you.
Thanks. Bonnie, we have for a really quick question. We have 45 seconds left.
Love your presentation, great concept. Love to support any way I can. I understand that you mentioned both that you're following the subscription model of like HelloFresh and Imperfect Foods. Do you know what their margin is? Like I'm looking at the 28% and the 33%. It seems kind of low. And I wanted to ask if they are fully loaded, meaning including promotions and discount and so forth.
Yes, good question. I haven't taken a recent look at what HelloFresh has been margin-wise or Imperfect Produce, but because I know we're kind of operating in a slightly different space in terms of how we're sourcing and what we're providing. So we're almost, I do expect us to have a little bit lower margin than perhaps getting general produce that, so for example, Imperfect Produce, if they're getting produce that is just kind of would have been waste or thrown out produce and providing it, that's a fairly cheap input for them. We are providing.
That is all the time. So sorry to cut you off. That is all the time that we have for that. Great question though, thank you. Okay, thank you, Pail. Congratulations, great job.
Good job, guys.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay, judges, go ahead and fill out your rubrics. I want to really quickly invite Brianna McDonald from Kretzu Forum Northwest to speak a little bit. Kretzu Forum Northwest and Brianna have been huge supporters of our center, offering tons of coaching, feedback, in addition to helping us design one of our newest programs. Brianna has been fantastic, so thank you so much. Brianna, if you want to share some words.
Well, thank you, Amelia. And I would just like to give it back to you and the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center and the Albers School for all the work that you're really doing to support the growth of entrepreneurship here in the Seattle area. We need entrepreneurs now more than ever. And I'm just so glad to be a part of it and help entrepreneurs find their path down their road. So just really quick, Kretzu Forum is a global organization. I run the Northwest and Rockies region, and we help facilitate funding in companies in their growth stage. So really focusing on Series A, B, and C. And we have many investors that across the Northwest, about 300 and about 50 in the Rockies that help to support companies. The good news that I have to share today is that our investors are still actively funding companies. Our companies have received funding the last 2 months. Our investors still seem very optimistic about the current market and looking at companies that are helping the current COVID situation that we're dealing with. So there's been a lot of opportunity. We are just as entrepreneurial as the companies we serve, and in that time have pivoted our entire business online and restructured a lot of what we're working on and doing within our membership. So it's been a fun exercise to say the least, and I'm excited to see what continues to evolve as we move through this pandemic and come out on the other side, what that's all going to look like for us. So, and it'll be individuals like yourselves and the entrepreneurs really helping to drive that forward. So keep up the good work at Seattle U. Thank you, Amelia and team, Alexis, for your support with this business plan competition. I know it's not been easy to convert everything online and do it in this format, and you guys have done an outstanding job. So good work.
Thank you so much, Brianna. That's so sweet. We definitely have been taking some pages out of the Kratzu Forum playbook in terms of running these virtual meetings. So appreciate all of the resource and knowledge sharing that we have here. Okay, judges, hopefully we've given you enough time to wrap up your scores for Pail. I'm really excited to introduce Nature's Label up next. They are a fantastic young team. I will let you guys take it away whenever you are ready.
An apple a day keeps the doctor away, or does it? Not for 6-year-old Josie, who found herself in the doctor's office uncomfortable with chronic cough and lethargy. Nobody would have guessed that a year earlier, Josie had inhaled the produce label. You know, one of those annoying little stickers that you can find on all your produce items? Yeah, she inhaled that, and it nearly costed her life. Only after performing surgery were doctors able to find the PLU sticker and save her. Granted, this was an extreme situation. On average, a PLU sticker will not harm you. However, and quite alarmingly, they are harming the environment. So what's the problem? Imagine the world wrapped 1.6 times in plastic, a kilometer wide. This is how much plastic is generated from the price lookup stickers, also known as the PLU stickers, found on avocados, oranges, and bananas sold in the US each year. To make matters worse, these stickers are so thin and pliable that 10 to 15% of stickers have to be thrown into the landfill because these stickers go undetected through the screeners. However, despite their drawbacks, PLU stickers are essential to the store's inventory and categorization processes. But don't worry, even if they can't be entirely eliminated, there is still a way to reduce their negative impact on the environment. Hi, I'm Aria, and we are Nature's Label. Our mission is to revolutionize the produce industry while enhancing the lifestyle of the world together. Now, eating healthy will mean living healthy in a less polluted world. Nature's Label will work closely with the communities to teach them about composting, as well as providing healthcare, education, and childcare for its employees. Nature's Label will have a positive impact on society. Additionally, along with reducing the amount of waste created through the production of plastic PLU stickers, we will be supporting the planet by donating 10% of our profits to the UN's sustainability goals. What we do? Well, our company, Nature's Label, replaces plastic PLU stickers with an eco-friendly sticker. Our stickers are biodegradable, retain all the PLU information, and reduces plastic and energy waste, all while being cost competitive. Small changes have huge impacts, and through Nature's Label, we will prove it. By 2024, through eliminating stickers from just avocados, oranges, and bananas, we're removing 24 million plastic stickers a year. This is removing plastic the size of Lake Sammamish. By 2036, we will be removing 65.25 billion plastic PLU stickers a year. This eliminates roughly 65,250 square kilometers of plastic annually, which is about a third of the size of Washington state. Our current prototype is a sticker made of 3 layers: an adhesive layer created using naturally derived resin, the information layer encoding all the PLU information created of rice paper and ink, and a water-resistant layer of wax. How we do it? Well, today, the farmers and distributors place these PLU stickers on produce before they are shipped to the grocery stores. So by partnering directly with the local distributors and growers, we launch our product transitioning to a more sustainable solution in eco-friendly Seattle, and then the US market. We have received support from Stemmed Growers, one of the largest apple growers in Washington state, as well as support from end users. About 93% of end users believe that PLU stickers are a problem and are excited for our solution. We have also been in touch with PCC, where we interviewed Senior Sustainability Specialist Brent Kawamura, who provided positive support for our product and its ability to fit with the PCC's environmental sustainability initiatives. PCC also receives requests from customers who hope they will switch to a biodegradable PLU sticker option for their produce. The PLU sticker industry offers protection for Nature's Label because our company designs stickers so that they are compatible with the current machinery. Other companies entering the PLU sticker industry face barriers to entry due to the high switching costs required to move away from the traditional labeling machines. These other emerging PLU sticker companies are more focused on the compostability aspect over ease of use. Similarly, Nature's Label will have access to the top-notch research from Seattle University and University of Washington, giving us an advantage in R&D. This gives us an edge in creating an adhesive that balances the compostability and durability that is currently a challenge. Following our creation of the adhesive, we will file for patents both through the US and internationally with the guidance from UW's CoMotion and Seattle University. The two most important aspects by growers regarding the PLU stickers are its affordability and ease of use. However, once these requirements have been met, their next concern is eco-friendly. While there are other compostable stickers available in the existing market, traditional plastic PLU stickers remain the most commonly used. PLU stickers from Sinclair are not only cheap but fit with their machines. Thus, growers stick with the plastic alternatives due to switching costs from new equipment needed and price concerns as seen by compostable companies like Pure Labels and Laser Foods. Take Laser Foods, for example. Their approach is to laser imprint the PLU labels onto their produce, a method that is both costly and time-consuming to train people on how to use. Nature's Label, however, will create an easy-to-use and cost-competitive sticker solution designed to reduce the switching cost and retains the integrity of compost that an organic farmer would use. In order to test our product, we are going to partner with local farmers such as Collins Family Orchards to test our product viability at the University District Farmers Market. Through an iterative process of incorporating feedback from both the growers and the consumers, we will develop a PLU sticker alternative that appeals to all stakeholders throughout the process. After which we will begin to partner with other local growers and label produce including apples, plums, onions, etc. To reduce the pain of farmers, we will be creating per sticker subsidies to match the current price of PLU stickers. Additional funding for our project will be obtained through government funding and grants, such as the National Institute of Environmental Health Science or the Environmental Protection Agency, and crowdfunding like Kickstarter. As we increase scale, the price per sticker will lower, and we will transition to the larger market. In 2020, we will begin our development and testing in Washington State. By partnering with growers like Collins Family Orchards, Baird Orchards, and Tone Makers, we will gain the support of the local communities. With the increase in traction by 2025, we will expand to the Pacific Northwest and increase the variety of produce targeted. By 2030, we will have a presence across the United States and be one of the most prominent PLU sticker companies. By 2040, we will be launching internationally. Here's our team. I'm Arya and I'm the CEO, and I've had previous experience with developing business plans and researching businesses. Alyssa is our CMO and has had previous experience creating and researching businesses through hackathons and independent study. Coy, our CTO, has had previous research and development experiences from working at UW and Fred Hutch. Sophie, our CFO, has had previous experience running nonprofits and has a passion for sustainability. Siddhant is our CDO and has had design experience to optimize product appeal and website UI UX. And lastly is our team advisor, Catherine Gardeau. She is an experienced impact investor with strong ties to the sustainability community. By 2025, we will have 10 licensees that we are selling our adhesive to. We will be selling 50 million stickers and generating almost $1.7 million. In the beginning phases, our team will not be taking a salary and will be personally funding the initial investments. To exit the market, we plan to be acquired by traditional PLU sticker manufacturers, such as Sinclair, to help them be more eco-friendly. Nature's Label is the cost-effective, easy-to-use compostable alternative. By voting for us and providing funding, you will be supporting us in our mission to develop world-changing technology. Help us perfect and patent our product. Together, we will revolutionize the produce industry. Now, eating healthy will mean living healthy in a less polluted world. You can visit the Nature's Label website to learn more. But before we take questions, while you excitedly wait for us to come to market, you can use your PLU stickers to do some fun and creative projects like this, especially if you have kids at home bored in quarantine. Now, saving the environment can also be artful. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations, great job, Arya. Okay, judges, I know that you have some questions. Bill, please take it away.
Yeah, good presentation. I love this piece of art too. Very creative. I have a couple questions here around how unique you guys are. So is this patentable? Can people replicate what you're doing in some form or fashion? And then the second is, what does it take to get into the production cycle? Do you have a sense of how long that takes? And do you have to go through a specification process? So it's really one question around uniqueness and the other around, how do you get into the market?
Yes, so I can take the part on uniqueness. We are actually one of the only companies that are currently developing these biodegradable PLU stickers.
Right.
To different companies that currently exist, Pure Labels is just a sticker company, so their price per unit is extremely high, and they are not targeting these farmers. And the other competitors are sticking with plastic due to, like, as we mentioned, the switching costs. So they aren't very helpful as well. As for the development and producing, we are currently still in the development phase. And as soon as we are able to create a prototype, we're going to be testing them. We believe that in around 5 years, we'll be able to mass produce it through contract manufacturing.
Yeah, my question was more like, how do you get it onto the fruit? Do they already have a commitment with these other guys? What would cause them to change? Lower cost or?
Sorry about that. Didn't realize that once I muted myself, I couldn't
That's
mute
okay.
myself again. So yeah, we are going to be working directly with the farmers to get them to switch to our product. Depending on the size of the grower or distributor, they either apply it by hand or they have these labeling machines. Since our price per unit is going to be the same as any other company, the added fact that we are biodegradable and we will be providing any subsidies to have any of the cover any of the costs will encourage them to switch.
Okay, thank you. Liz, you're up next, and then Brianna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just real quick, wondering about your business development cycles with your partnerships. It looks like you already have some letters of intent or some partnerships. Do you mind explaining just how long you think that cycle is going to be to get your partnerships going? Do you have more in the pipeline that you're reaching out to or hoping to reach out to soon?
Yes, so as for partners, we are currently talking with several different farmers. While these mostly rely on when we get our final product perfected, since we are balancing the difficult task of something that has to have a shelf life of 2 years, but also be able to compost in around 45 days or 60, depending on the compost facility, the actual development of a sticker that is this durable has been a bit of a problem for us. We are currently working with different researchers and other companies as well to make this happen.
Awesome, thank you so much. And again, great presentation and love the mission.
Thanks. Okay, Brianna, and then Scott.
So this is a problem that I understand and deal with as I pick it off our fruit. Can you talk about certification or regulations around the FDA, and being these are going to be placed on fruits and vegetables and need to have a shelf life? Is there any sort of hurdles that you have with the regulatory department or having it be composted?
Since each of the individual components of our sticker is edible, from the printer, the ink that is going to be edible, as well as being able to eat rice paper, each of the individual components adding together should not create any different things for the FDA. The current stickers are rated as a non-food substance, which means that the plastic ones, while shouldn't be eaten, are non-toxic and won't harm you. We are aiming for the same level of certification until we perfect our product, and at that point, we plan for it to be edible as well.
We are also in contact with Cedar Grove, the composting facilities in Washington, and we're currently learning about their certification process and how we can get ourselves approved. So we're also constantly in contact with them to make sure as we get further in development that everything is still fitting their needs.
Just a really quick follow on with that. That's a very interesting point. So would they potentially help fund this effort if you're able to get all of that working? Because it's going to make their lives a lot easier to be able to have these vegetables not have the stickers on them.
That is definitely one of the avenues that we are currently looking to pursue. They are right now also looking into these adhesives as well and making sure, because as you were talking about, it is such a problem for them, that they want to solve it as quickly as possible as well.
We have Scott next, and then if we have time, Susan.
So interesting idea. I certainly hate pulling off those current ones, stickers off of like a soft fruit like a peach and having it tear the skin. It's frustrating. But I've bought a lot of Cedar Grove compost over the years to use in vegetable gardens, flower beds, and I've had times when it's had pieces of chopped up rubber and stuff like that in it that truly is a contaminant. What I'm missing is, from my experience as the consumer, I'm not seeing why having a few of these PLU stickers scattered in the compost that I get from Cedar Grove would be such an issue.
It depends on how it's being used. For a lot of organic farmers, they really depend on the integrity of this organic soil, and that those PLU stickers can actually take away from that and could like hinder the growth of their fruit. For personal consumers, I've said earlier, it's just being a little bit more environmentally friendly and making sure that we're able to compost as much as we can, and being able to make sure that we can not send that 10 to 15% of compost into the landfill just because of these stickers.
Okay, Susan, I think we have time for a quick question.
Oh, no worries. I will pass on the question.
Okay.
Because I don't think we've got time. But thank you. And it was a great presentation, guys. Really good. And I love the background you did. That was an added bonus and very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations. Great work, Nature's Label. Before we let everyone make their decisions, I do want to do a couple quick thank yous. Quick shout out to WTIA, the Washington Technology Industry Association, is another one of our sponsors and partners. Nick Ellingson, who heads several of their programs, including the Startup Club, has been a big volunteer for us and has donated several of the startup memberships to some of our program winners. So big thank you to WTIA. And then of course, I know everyone has been dying to hear from our favorite Mike Bauer from the Herbert B. Jones Foundation. Mike, I had with me on another Zoom call just 24 hours ago for the culmination of our Jones Progress Awards. So he's having all of the Zoom hangouts with me this week, but it's been really exciting to see the culmination of all of these programs. So Mike, I'd like to introduce you to just share a few words. I'm going to unmute you.
Does that mean I can talk now?
You can talk, go ahead.
Hi everyone. It actually is exciting every year to participate in all the varied programs that Seattle U provides, as well as to the other institutions in our state. 30 years ago, Herb founded his foundation, and he was an entrepreneur, but in those days we called him a small business person. But what was most interesting is he recognized 30 years ago the void in our post-secondary education process to deal with especially entrepreneurs. The trouble was we had no venues for anybody to be stimulated, no value in terms of ease and acceleration of their whole process through the post-secondary education. So Herb is now very honored, or at least we are on behalf of Herb, to participate in programs and to watch exactly what was represented today with 4 exciting presentations, as well as what happened in the trade show. I do need to extend one thank you to all of the coaches, the judges, because without you initiating and being part of this venue, it wouldn't aid in the process, because you're there adding to their network, adding to their experience, and accelerating them onto their growth pattern, or at least we hope it's growth pattern. So with that, we're just very pleased to provide it. Of course, normally we would sit here and suggest the winner was, but we're very excited that they were all winners.
Indeed they are. Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you so much to the Herbert B. Jones Foundation. We're so honored to live in his legacy. Really quickly, I see Harriet has joined us. Harriet, I want to call on you to say just a quick hello to everyone. I'm unmuting you now so we can hear you, Harriet. Go ahead and say hi.
Great. Hey, this is really exciting to see how far this has come and what you're doing with it, and how well they're doing, and the ideas they've got, and everybody's pulling together, and how you pulled all this together to make this kind of presentation. Just nice going. It's marvelous. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harriet. I'm so glad you could be here today. And finally, I want to invite the Dean of the Albers School of Business, Joseph Phillips, to share a few words.
Okay, thank you, Amelia. And first of all, I want to congratulate the 4 teams. You all did a great job today. You all did a great job to get here. You showed a lot of resilience in being part of this plan, because this is the first time that we're not doing it face-to-face, we're doing it virtually. And you really showed up and made it just as good as any other year in terms of the final presentations and the quality of the plans that you've put together. Of course, I want to thank our judges. Thank you so much, judges, for being part of this process. And we're all looking forward to the results, of course. And probably you're going to tell us you had to work really hard to figure it out, because they were all great. I want to thank Amelia and Alexis also, of course, for their great work and their creativity and their flexibility in responding to COVID-19 and figuring out a way to do this virtually and make it happen and not take a year off, which would have been the easy thing to do. So thank you very much, both of you, for all the great work that you've put in. Mike Bauer, I can't thank you enough for the Herb Jones Foundation support of entrepreneurship at Seattle U all these years and at the other universities in the state of Washington. And as you rightly pointed out, he was really a man ahead of his time, right? Because he really wanted to instill entrepreneurial spirits and thinking into higher education back when nobody really was interested in doing that, maybe except for Harriet. So again, that's a good reminder, because not all of us here today, would understand what higher ed was doing 25 or 30 years ago. So appreciate that. So anyway, again, thanks to everybody else that's here that I haven't already thanked. Great to have you tuning in and supporting our students this way. So back to you, Amelia.
Thank you so much, Joe, and thank you to everyone at Albers and Seattle University. Our professors have been working so hard, as well as all of our students and staff. So thank you to everyone. Again, a huge thank you to all of our supporters and sponsors, our donors, our volunteers. Again, as a reminder, the Innovation Entrepreneurship Center is made possible by our community. So every dollar that you put towards our center goes directly towards doing this hands-on community support of our students and learners. If you have a smartphone, if you have an iPhone, you can just point your camera at this little QR code. If you have an Android, I'm sure there's another quick trick you can get, but this will open up our donation link. If you're moved today, please consider making a donation. Anything, even $5, makes it possible to have these kinds of events. And thank you, everyone. When you are doing, if you do choose to make a gift today, just make sure in the designation dropdown, you say the Entrepreneurship Center Restricted Fund. You don't want it to go to the dean's account, which I think is the default for some reason. I want to go straight to us. So thank you all. We will be announcing our winners tomorrow around noon by email and social media. Anyone who is not a judge is now invited to go enjoy your Friday evening. Team members, you are invited for a live reveal at 10 a.m. tomorrow of the winners. We will be recording that and sharing the video out with our community about noon tomorrow. Again, as a reminder, the teams, you can invite whoever you want to that. If you have supporters you want to bring, you can share that link, but it is just supposed to be for the team members and their friends and family. Thank you everyone for joining us. This was an incredible group of pitches, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we will, I'm sure, be spending a bunch of time trying to figure out who to give this $10,000 away to. This was really impressive. So thank you all. Have a great evening.